What's up, guys? We're past the pop culture. My name's Ricky, and I'm with my co-host Fen.
What's up?
So today's episode 13 or 12. What are we on? I already messed up.
12.
Oh shoot. Okay. All right. So we're pretty much talking about was it remakes, remasters, and cashing in on nostalgia, man. Like, I feel like we've been just seeing a lot of these like remakes coming around or remasters, and then air quotes on that in case you're just listening. But yeah, I feel like there's just been too much kind of remakes going around that are just meh. I think it's like they're usually good, but it's because it was of a good game or a good show. Sometimes though, like the show does terrible.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I bring this up because I've been arguing with Fen for a while about how I refuse to watch Cruella because I feel like they're just cashing in. Like, I feel like it doesn't. There's really no need to do it. It's more done to just cash in on the fact that people are gonna watch it because one, it's Disney, and two, it's part of something that people watched in the past. And then so I just kind of wanted to talk about that because I just want to know if anyone else agrees. Like, dude, like I just don't like it. It's just, I don't know.
I don't think maybe most people do kind of agree, but because you don't like any of their like the remakes.
I
right?
have not watched any of the remakes. I watched like 5 minutes of like the Aladdin one.
Oh shoot, I forgot about them.
And I was like, I'm not watching this.
Okay.
Like it just feels soulless to me. I don't like it. It's just like, okay, you get some people to reenact the animated movie that's did it like 100 times better, like the classics. Like I don't know. I don't like it. Like sometimes like these remasters or remakes for video games do a decent job. To me, I'd rather just have them get ported over.
Right.
And then like heavily discounted. Like and then also too, something that pisses me off. They charge full price for an old game that they ported over.
Well, it's because the suckers are going to buy it.
Yeah, but it's like I shouldn't pay $60 for a game that, came out when it was like $30. You know what I mean? And then they bumped it up, and all they did was just basically use a ROM. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just that gets me upset. Like,
yeah,
like
but
why $60 for for an old game? That doesn't make sense. Like, you can kind of justify it when they do like a whole like Final Fantasy 7 remake. That was a whole brand new game.
Yeah,
that was a whole brand.
So that's a remake.
But yeah,
that's
not
a remaster.
Remake. That's fine. I'm fine with them doing that. But my problem is like the remaster, and it's just like I understand there's a lot of work that goes into it. I would be honest. Like, yes, there is a lot of work. For their 60 frames per second, making things run smoother, more items can pop up on screen, or, you can have more things going on, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but don't you agree that kind of makes the charm of the old game to just vanish?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and then that's a good, important question, too. Is it, like, does that devalue these classics, some of these classics in a way? Like, I feel like it depends, the like, how far apart they were released.
Right.
Like, I think... something like when you had, I think they did A Link's Awakening.
Yeah, that was like 50 million years though.
Yeah, so like cause that was on Game Boy.
Yeah,
it was Game Boy Color, and then they did that really cool, I guess like remake.
Yeah, it was like, are you talking about the one where it's kind of like music? Like I think there's one where it's like on beat. I'm not sure if that's the same one though. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No.
Because there's a Link game that's from the Game Boy, I believe. I could be 100% wrong. And then they remastered it for the Nintendo Switch.
Okay, yeah.
And so each action is like a beat, but it's based off...
Are you talking Crypt of the...
You know which one I'm talking about?
Are you talking about that indie game?
No, I'm talking about literally Zelda.
There's an indie game that there's like you dance to the rhythm. It's like Crypt of the Necrodancer, something like that. I could have
sworn it was Link because it looked exactly like Link, but...
Okay, because I know there's that. I don't know if there's a Link or Legend of Zelda rhythm.
It came out on the Switch. Someone's gonna have to tell us.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to look that up. We're gonna look so dumb after this. That's kind of bothering me now. I'm pretty sure there's like an indie game.
Because I specifically remember
like you
in
go
Link.
through a dungeon.
Yeah.
And then because I think they maybe have done a version of it, or like maybe they added in.
Because I remember the house where Link comes out.
Yeah.
And like his dad or old
did
dude.
You hear that? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And then like he's like, oh yeah, here's your sword, blah blah blah, and it's like it looks exactly. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's Link.
Okay, no, I have no idea.
I might be crazy.
Okay, because I know there was Crypt of the Necrodancer. I think that's what it's called, something like that. It's where you go through like you're like it's like a roguelike dungeon crawler or something like that, and then you have to like move and attack on beat. I haven't played it, but I've seen it.
Man, I'm probably 100% wrong.
No. I'm just saying, like, but they probably made something like that. I think there's probably some sort of crossover that ended up happening. I'm pretty sure. So, from what it sounds like, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And then, I don't know. I lost track of what I was saying.
Well, remakes.
Yeah. So, with that game, I think it's Link's Awakening on the Game Boy Color. And then, so I really like the art style of like the old pixel games. I mean, if anyone's listening, like heard more than one episode,
we know. Yeah, they know.
I think that I really love like just the pixelated like style and aesthetic and everything. I did like how when they did the remaster, it gave it like a cool angle, and then they made it looked really cool. I didn't play it because I want to finish beating the original and then do the remaster. I have not had time though to go back and like play it. I haven't played it in a long time, but I might just start over. I don't know, because I feel like when I play like the Legend of Zelda games, you lose track of where you are because if you don't play it like after some time,
if it's
and
after
then you're
years,
like, what like
I'll just start over.
Quest? Yeah, because I played it like maybe like a month ago. Like the last time I played it.
Okay.
And so, but I lost track. And then so every time like I do that though, I start over. I don't mind starting over. I like it. It's a fun.
It's a good game, yeah. But
yeah, it's like it's the Legend of Zelda. And the funny thing is when I play these games though, I'm not sure if anyone does this, but I have a tough time beating the Legend of Zelda games. As in like from completion. Like not that I get bored.
Like 100% complete, or just like from start to finish.
From start to finish,
Okay.
like going from like the first boss to like the last boss. I always have a like, not that it becomes like a. I don't know, like I get my feeling of it for The Legend of Zelda, and then I'm like, well, I don't really want to beat it because I don't feel like it's a game you have to beat. I feel like it's the world and experience of it.
Interesting. Okay.
For me, that's how I get my kicks from The Legend of Zelda. I just like being in the world and being like, here's my sword, and yeah.
Okay,
like
all
that's
right.
what I like doing, and then just like I don't know. I was like, I don't tend to beat. Like I bought like a whole bunch of them.
Right.
I played, especially like the classic ones. You have to do all these convoluted ones.
Very interesting.
You know, the old like Game Boy ones. You have to do all these convoluted things that you wouldn't know how to progress.
Right.
And then so I'm just like, like I just enjoy running around, just do like the music, and then like
I don't think I've ever heard of a perspective like that. I'm kind of baffled right now.
I enjoy just like exploring the world. I never really beat the games. The only one I've beaten is Ocarina of Time.
Okay, that's fine. That's the only one you need
for 3DS.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you alive when the Ocarina of Time N64 was out? I don't think because it came out when I was like,
I think that was GameCube.
Ocarina of Time is
Time?
N64.
Are you sure?
Yes. Majora's Mask, golden little cartridge.
Yeah.
N64.
Wait, Majora's Mask, and then
Majora's Mask after Ocarina of Time.
Oh man, dude.
I don't think you're.
No, N64. Yeah, that was like 90s and stuff.
Because you said 3DS, so you haven't played the like original.
No, I don't play the original. Oh, you're right. You know, Ocarina of Time. I think it was. Yeah, it was.
100% sure it's N64.
It was N64.
That one I'm sure of.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
But yeah, like I don't know. I just enjoy like just riding the little horse around, get my little ferry, and then I'm just like, all right, I'm done for a while. I really liked like no matter how much, like I really like Twilight Princess, but I stopped and then I forgot and then I start over. I'm like, wow, this is really fun, and then I get my feeling. Like I don't know. Like,
did you beat that one?
No, I don't. I just don't beat them. Like either like I just like.
You don't lose like the I don't know the perspective of the game, or like you don't, because you play it and then you stop.
Yeah. And
then you play it again, but you start over. So it's like, do you think you kind of lose like the appeal of the game over time? Because
probably like to some degree. Like I don't like I haven't finished any of them. So
that's what I'm
like,
saying.
It's like I probably just like whatever. Like at one point, but
interesting.
I don't know. Like I just never felt the need to really beat them. Like to a certain point, like I just like playing them for like I don't know. It's just cool to walk around as like a little elf boy and like beating up things and like just going to people's homes and throwing.
Well, you just might as well play like Final Fantasy or something.
Yeah, I mean, I just like breaking and entering and committing all these crimes just to like
in game.
Yeah, in the game just to get some rupees.
Also, that was Ricky. Anyways, interesting. So you've never. This is brand new. This is brand new to me.
I beat Ocarina of Time.
Okay, that's it.
And that was it. And then.
What about like Breath of the Wild?
I haven't played that one. Actually.
Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword. Oh, I played it and lost a little piece that you need the attachment on the
Oh.
Wii. So I never beat that one.
Okay.
And but they're doing.
They are making a remaster of
yeah.
that.
So oh well, I mean, yeah, that's appropriate to talk about too. Cause did you beat that one?
I beat that
Skyward
one.
Sword?
Yeah, I beat all of them.
Yeah, cause like I sold my Wii and everything because I'm
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna use this, and most of the Wii games are either
Dumb, non-existent.
I'm not willing to hold on to the Wii for, and a lot of times there's like ports for a lot of the good
Yeah.
games, and so I don't know, like the Wii was fun for its time.
Wii was like a weird period. I feel,
Yeah, I mean I don't know, cause like I've always liked
or especially the Wii U.
the Wii U was just a flop. We don't talk about that. I always forget the Wii U exists.
Yeah.
What's funny, cause like I like these old retro games.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it's funny because it's like I still have like my PS3, but I sold my Wii,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like because I feel like the Wii. I don't know how to word it. Like, there's not that there's not classics on the Wii, because there's plenty of people that can argue there are good games.
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
Wii.
there was.
But I don't know. I just feel like it's not something. I'm not as funny as much as I love the history of video games. I'm not a video game collector.
Okay.
In the same sense, like. I would love to own like the old school arcade machines, like the Super Mario Brothers, like you know, the Donkey Kong and all that. Like I would love to own the arcade machines for those. I think it's just more the era. I like that era of games. I don't think
you
like,
hipster.
I think because when we're now that we're like games are getting a little older, like dude, like sometimes I'm like, oh, like how long was like PlayStation 2? And I look, I'm like how long ago? I was like, oh shoot, like I was like a fetus when that came out, dude. Like. So I was like, oh man,
That's
but
sad.
And not that I don't like the games of those era, but just there's something about the arcade era of like the 80s and like all those games that came out. I don't know, like I just like that.
I feel like the like the feeling and the aura and like just how you feel from like in the past, which is like 2000, 1990s, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know. I feel like that feeling that you got when going to those arcades is like 100% different from now. Like if I'm going to Dave and Buster's, it's just like there's so many lights and like I sound like a boomer, but it's it's like, oh cool, Time Crisis 75, or it's like some matching game. They're all like, phone games.
Yes, I've been noticing that.
Like,
which is okay to some degree.
Yeah, but when you say arcade, I want to put a nickel in.
And you know what? It's just like, to me, I don't mind like the mobile games kind of getting in, but it's just sometimes it seems like some of these are a little unnecessary. Or what like baffles me is like they had the Injustice mobile game.
Yeah, but not the Injustice.
But you could have made an actual like,
I don't know that.
You know,
triggers
joystick,
me to this day. Yes.
You know, and button version of the actual Injustice game. That's when I'm like, okay, who didn't have the foresight to be like, why don't we give it like a Street Fighter 2 vibe? You know what I mean?
I never understood that.
And then just do that for Injustice. But they just made the mobile version and that you play that, even though there's a real video game. They could have just booted up a PS4 and then like the original Injustice came out on PS3 as well, I think, right?
Oh shoot, yeah, PS3, and then the second one came out on PS4.
Yeah, PS4. So I'm like, they could have just done that. But like I like going back like that era of gaming, like that early 2000s. I like. But I don't know. I like the 8-bit, 16-bit era. Yeah. That's where I like.
Weirdly, I feel like a lot of people still would prefer that style over like the new style a little bit more.
I think, but you see, that's the thing. Since I don't know, like in 10, 20 years, are these like nostalgic games and all that stuff
gonna be like upgraded?
well, like let's say what's a game that came out in the early 2000s? Well, let's even take Ocarina of Time. Let's just say, because even though that was like N64 and everything, like, because I like the old retro games, the 8, 16-bit, because of the style and the graphics. I like N64 graphics, even as much as like they look as poopy as it is. I love ugly graphics. Like like when you see like Donkey Kong or
Banjo-Kazooie,
and like I like their like character designs. I'd love to be able to like make a game that just looks that poopy. You know?
But it's so good.
It just there's a certain aesthetic to it. I don't know. But like you see, I'm not sure if we're gonna look back as fondly to that era the same way we look at the 8 and 16-bit era. And I think it's mainly because it was kind of like the emergence of games. I think that's where we had Mario and Link. And, it's like Sonic. So it's like all these characters, they're reaching like, 35 years now?
Yeah.
Some of these, like, they're doing their anniversaries and
especially
stuff
Mario.
like that.
Yeah, Mario.
Yeah, 35 years ago. And then so it's like, I'm not sure. I think comparatively, it's just like the legacy, I think, of it is a bit different than when you have like let's say like even the Uncharted series with Nathan Drake, right? Like, let's say 20, 30 years from now, I'm not sure if it's going to have the same fuzzy feeling as like seeing Mario just go like, interesting. Like hitting the little block. And then, like, so I'm not sure if that's going to have like the same level of like, because I feel like we're just going to look back and be like, oh, those graphics, rather than like, it's not as charming, I think.
So you don't think it's going to be more like as time progresses, like, because we're right now we want the 16 and whatever 8-bit, and it's like, and then like if it progresses even further, do you think that's gonna kind of be left behind? And then we're gonna start looking at like the Uncharted and like, oh, these were cool.
Timeless with it. I think.
You think so?
I think. Well, I think it's gonna die down because I think a lot of the people who grew up with that, you know, they have money now to go back and buy like, you know, the old NES and SNES systems and all that stuff.
Okay, so what? Just an example, since it's like our generation. Think of like 3-4 generations from now where like nobody's alive that was back, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think that would be still something, or you think they'd be like, oh, remember Halo 2? Something like that?
I think to a certain degree, but I always feel like, you know how like no matter how, let's take even just regular history, right? There's Civil War reenactments, Revolutionary War reenactments as like, because it's just history. People like that period of history. Yeah, sure. Like there's probably certain times where it's more popular. Whether it's based on pop culture or TV shows or whatever, like, because sometimes I know they were doing like that. They were doing like a lot of like Revolutionary War stuff in like the 2010s. Like you had like Turncoat or something like that, and then you had like that Mel Gibson movie or something.
Oh shoot,
Patriot.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like the early 2000s, early 2010s era. There was a lot of those like movies, and then of course like every year. There's a World War II movie that comes out. Yeah. I mean, even though we're getting farther and farther away from World War II, we still memorialize it in a way. So I don't think, I mean, this is a roundabout way of saying, like, I think it's going to hold for, like, the feelings towards that era is still going to hold. I'm not sure if maybe they're going to be as collectible. Like, so I'm not going to say, like, because, like, you have, like, the, like, Earthbound games. They're, like, hundreds of dollars. So, like, the original Pokemon games, like, in their seals and all that, they're, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. But I think maybe like the price of those will go down because like they're just people are not like buying it a lot. But I think the history is gonna hold. Just like real life history still kind of holds. Like people like certain times in history.
So there'll be movies and museum pieces.
It's like look, the Romans were around a long time ago and people love that. Or like Greek, you know, the Greek philosophy and like the polis and stuff like that, like the city states and all that. Like people like it's been a long time, but people still really like ancient, you know, Greek history or like different things. It's like. Sure, yeah, there's that popularity with like the whole Greek gods and, you know, Percy Jackson or whatever, and like, but the point being is just like they're all. It's like it still holds, and I think it's gonna hold water for a long time. Okay. I think yes, there's gonna be certain like trends and popularity, like remember the PlayStation 3 era, and then everyone's playing all the old games. Yeah. But I think what it is now, it's like we can remaster them, and so I think a lot of the newer games are just gonna get carried over. I think because like, how do I word it? Like. You can remaster some of these arcade system games, but I think it's really hard to replicate the arcade feeling here, like at home on your computer. Yeah. And I think that's why people like the arcade machines, because it's different. Like using a joystick and all that stuff and having the whole like huge machine.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah, it's 100% different than just like grabbing your, you know, PlayStation 4 controller.
Yeah, and then just be like, beep, 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 beep.
So I think it's just the way like you go about it. Plus, you know, like typically I feel like, you know, you have to go out to an arcade, and I think you associate it like just going out more than like being at your home or something like that.
For the antisocial people at least, right? Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like it's a little different, but yeah, I mean, I'm sad that the arcade era's gone, dude. Part of me wishes I was a programmer during that time. Right. Like I really do. Like sometimes like when I'm watching these like the history of certain video games, or how certain characters were created, or like how Kirby was made, why Kirby was made, and then just like man, dude, like, cause a lot of that stuff was programmed in assembly. If you're lucky, maybe in the 90s, some of them were programmed in like maybe C. I think that's what it was. Yeah, because C's pretty old. So yeah, maybe you could have gone that.
Ancient technology.
Most of it is probably programmed in assembly, and you're reading like half computer, like robot language at that point. And so I have a lot of respect, like, because I know a lot of people like on the old Red and Blue Pokemon games.
Right.
They were like, oh, you know, like there's all these glitches and like a lot of bugs. And I'm like, dude, and you know, it took them like I think like 6 years, 5-6 years to develop, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm like, dude, like if you had to program that, dude, like
they don't know the under.
Yeah, like Mario was like in 32 kilobytes or something. Like that's crazy. That's crazy to me.
Kilobytes?
Yeah, kilobytes, not megabytes, kilobytes.
Holy.
Like 32 or something. Like it's something crazy. Like
I didn't know that.
Like the audio, like a 3 or 5 second snippet of like the main theme,
right,
is bigger than the actual game or something like that. Like
what?
Like the audio
I believe
file.
that.
Like now it is, but I don't know. I just think it's so cool. Like the restrictions that they had to work with, because it wasn't like now you can just pretty much
so
do anything now, and you don't have to worry about space as much.
So since you're kind of saying like it was harder, and like I would assume it means more to finish the game back then than it is now, because now it's just it's pretty easy, right?
Oh, I mean, game development now is still incredibly difficult.
Well, in terms of, I'm not saying like it's super easy, anyone can do it, but like, do you think the amount of struggle maybe?
Yeah, I guess like the pipeline from like getting A to Z to finishing the game is a bit different.
Do you think since like back in the day, like it's tooth and nail, Pokemon took 6 years, and like you can make a Call of Duty in a year now, it's like, do you think that's why those like old games had a lot of charm? Because I know we always say is like you can feel the passion of the creators.
Like if you wanted to get a game done, there's a lot more blood, sweat, and tears. But you remember too, like games now have like 100-man teams. Back then, I think like Nintendo would have like around like 8. Like I think it was like 6 to 12 people. Like it was small teams.
Right.
And so it was more intimate, I think, like how you can be like with the game, because I think now it's just like, okay, just make the gun, and you know,
and here's 20 different teams doing everything, right?
Yeah, and then so it's like, but you know, you had to do everything. Like even like when I'm learning game design right now, I'm very close to the game that I'm making right now. It's like you have a certain level of intimacy to it, because it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm making everything. I'm doing the music, the sound design, I'm drawing the characters, and I'm doing animations and stuff. So it's like you care about it a little bit more. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of like indie devs that, or I don't want to say indie devs, but you know, there's like there's companies of like the mobile games where it's like you see where it's like really like just poorly done, and like, you know what I mean, like
Candy
the
Crush
ads you get
20,000,
on, no, it's like the ads you get on Instagram, and it's like those weird 3D people, and then they're just like, oh, level 1 crook and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's like weird
zooms
stuff.
in on
Like I don't think they care, but there's actually probably like people who are like myself who are trying to learn game development and eventually would like to put my game on the mobile store, the Play Store or something. And like I think those people care, but going back to the main point, I think back then, because they had a passion for it, they had to really want to get it done. I mean, to write an assembly, I almost took an assembly class, but it was because I want to learn, but I ended up taking C instead.
Oh, okay.
And so because you know I'm in like Unity, you learn C# and stuff like that. So I wanted to learn like the C language, but that's another thing.
Another episode.
Yeah. But my point being is like I have a lot of respect for those developers, because just seeing how like the process, because like even to just make the character sprite sheets, right? I don't remember fully correctly, but they would draw it out on paper, so you'd have like a gridded paper. So like it would be each like a pixel essentially, so it'd be like 1 by 1,
right?
And they'd like letter it out, and you'd have to type in the coordinates instead to show like the digits like to according to the pixel. It wasn't like a sprite editor where you pull up like Photoshop or like a sprite or something, and then you just build it on the computer itself. Like you'd had to hand draw that how you want it to look, and like I don't know, it's just like it's crazy the work that went into it, and I think you can really tell like the effort that went into it, and I think it's because these games have soul. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so like when you play, you know, Super Mario Bros. Or Donkey Kong, or even all the way up to like, you know, like the N64 era, I mean, these games take a lot of work. And so I think now that we're getting into like an era of overabundance, I think less games are going to be remembered now, because, you know, you'd only have so many games being produced. The gaming market is nowhere near how it was like back in the 80s. So it's like games just get pumped out all the time. The biggest indie game or the biggest AAA game out right now, 2 years from now, it's gone. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
But that's true. Like there's only so many. I don't know how to word it. Like the retro games, like there was just not a lot of, like there was a good amount of games, and there's been plenty of bad games. There's still like 1,000 something or a couple thousand games that probably came out across.
Yeah, but it wasn't. The games weren't like every week as a new game.
But like you go on Steam, 1,000 games are being like uploaded every minute.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the problem too. It's like the whole, I guess maybe like scarcity or something with it. It's just like, and I think it's just different when you look back on this era. I think 20, 30 years from now, because it's like there's gonna be a few standout games. You're probably gonna have like Horizon Zero Dawn or maybe God of War or Halo or something. But I think it's gonna be different because it's just like there's so many games to remember now. I think versus like back then, whereas like
you always had like the big three or like big six or whatever, right?
But now basically like anime.
Yeah,
right? Like the big three.
Everyone knows Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's like no one can really decide on who's the big three anymore. And so I think that's just what it is. Like we're in this era of like overabundance, and there's a lot of mediocre games out there that I think there's also a difference. Like there's a bad game because someone's learning to make a game, versus like there's experienced developers who make a bad game because they want the money. Like I like if you're just like some 12-year-old kid or even like my age who was trying to learn like
brand spanking new to making games,
and the game's just not that good.
Yeah,
that's fine if you put it on the App Store. I don't care because I'm doing that, so I'd be hypocrite saying that. But like when you have these people purposely turning out these games that are just to grab as much money as possible, who don't care, it's disrespectful to the art form. And I think that's why now it's just like you're not gonna have that like almost like golden age feeling. That you have like with retro games,
because you can smell the greed.
Yeah, and I think that's why the games are gonna last, and it's not gonna matter like how far away. That was a long like rant or whatever.
I could see you wanted to get off your chest.
It's just like
no, but you have a point, because even with Biomutant, because that's the latest example I can think of. It took it was a small company, but it took
6 years?
like 6 years. But when you play it, it's just I don't know it. I don't know why, and we always try to figure out why, but it's like if I were to beat Biomutant, I would have to like invest. It would be like a time investment for me.
Yeah.
As in like I'm not gonna be very interested in it, but I want to beat it because I hate unfinished games.
Really?
But it's like back in the.
I used to hate unfinished games. Not to cut you off, but now I'm kind of like, whatever.
But see, that's the thing. I used to I would have to 100%.
I remember you would 100%.
I would, yes.
You'd get every trophy.
Exactly.
Everything.
I would stay up till like 4 a.m. beat that whole game,
it
whatever.
Was like WoW, like there was new expansion, and then you had like there's all these new armor sets. I know like every character you would have like one of every class. And
I was gone for 3 years,
With like a different race and like all this stuff, and like you would 100% like you would get the best gear, like everything. Like you were.
Oh, don't even get me started on WoW.
Because you were a completionist.
Yeah, but in like games, it's like in any games that I used to play, and like games now, it's just for whatever reason, I don't know why.
Games are tedious now, I think.
Is that why? Because like I think
it's tedious.
Like Biomutant, I just kind of got over it a little bit, and then like the only game I kind of complete is like God of War, because like our cousin Chris, he has 100% Assassin's Creed. And like in my opinion, it's like it's a good game, but it's like, is it a game worth 100%ing? Because not really.
Games are just too long now. I think that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe I just have a monkey brain, and like game longer than 10 hours. No,
I just want to press one button. No,
yes, I just want to. Like maybe that's why I like the retro games. Just one button press.
Like just circle and then you're good.
Hit.
Well, no, because even then, like you were talking about WoW, like because now they released WoW Classic, so the remake of it, whatever. Yeah. And then they released the Burning Crusade. So back in the day, I first started playing the Burning Crusade, which just came out like last week. But it's like I have no interest in it because I know how Blizzard is now. Because Blizzard is, money hungry. Activision, doesn't even care about the players.
Blizzard, Activision, they all don't care.
Yeah, but it's like it's like. How can I spent 14 years.
We're in the dark ages of games. That's what it is, dude.
It's stupid because it's again with WoW. I was 13, 14 years. Like people like met their wives, had like got kids, and it's like they got married on
WoW
this.
Classic is now out, and then it's been out, but like and then everyone swarmed to that. Yeah,
and then of course they realized it was too easy for them, but it's. Like I don't know, it's money I guess changes people, because even with the WoW Classic, like people wanted to go back to it for like the nostalgia and like they wanted to feel how they felt when it first came out, and it's like they played it on their brand new computers.
So do you think they came out with classic just to cash in?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Everybody wanted it. They because they shut down a private server that had classic, and they were super angry, so they'd always fight. Maybe they went to court, whatever, and so they're like, wait, people are angry about this, so it's like cha-ching. Let's just we're the owners. Let's re-release it.
Re-release the game.
And then people started playing that game. They're like, this game is not that great as back in the day. Because, back in the day, you had computers like that were like this thick. And then it's like now you have a supercomputer and everything, all the hard stuff, like all the trials you had to go through back in the day.
Well, what would you have to do? Because I didn't play WoW Classic. I played a little bit of WoW as a kid just because like one of our uncles had it on his computer.
Yeah.
And I just played like occasionally.
Yeah, so in the Classic, it was a lot more tedious, but everything, I don't know, it was weird. It's kind of hard to explain. Like everything, it was slow, but everything had like a certain amount of like meaning, I guess, in my opinion. And saying like now that Burning Crusade came out, that's when I first started. And it's like compared to the WoW now, it's like everything is handed to you. And it's like
so modern WoW is just handed out.
Yeah.
Classic WoW. So did they change like some of the mechanics of the classic WoW when they
no, so
they
they chose a certain patch, and then they kind of stuck with it because the whole thing was no changes. Like Asmongold would say, no changes, and all that. So it's like it is different because it's back in the day when MMOs like were barely like brand spanking new. So the game had a lot of unnecessary difficulty, like killing one boar can kill you, like it was like level 2. And now it's just like you can literally level up 10 times in the starting zone. And it's like I was leveling you up pretty fast when you play it, right? Yeah. Well, like from 1 to 60 back in the day, it would take forever, like weeks. But now it's like I can get you max level in like a day. And
so like you just, I think like it's just kind of like I don't want to say like, because making a game more tedious and more laborious doesn't really help.
Yeah.
But there's a certain balance that like you can't just hand the player everything, but you can't just force them to grind out but hours worth of content.
I think it was
okay. Level up once.
Yeah, it was okay back in the day because nothing was really made to the scope of WoW, right? But
so like it was just brand new. So
so it's like I'm fine with grinding, one mob just to try to get one item that never drops or whatever. And it's like now, since maybe, I don't know, the attention span or people are always busy or whatever, it's like if you take like more than 5 minutes to, finish the quest, people are like, oh, this game's stupid.
Maybe is it because maybe we live in the era of like
everything's
social
like
media and everything's like snap right there. Like that's why when we play our games.
I mean, like, probably, but video games should definitely not
when
be.
You see some of these retro games, man, like, because like when I'm playing, like, especially like I've seen like old school RPGs, man, and how long it would take just to do a turn. I'm like, dude, that's forever.
But see, it's like maybe back in the day it was the first of its kind, so it's like we don't really have anything to compare it to.
Yeah,
at least that's
I don't know, like, because sometimes I feel like it's almost like time wasters when they make things last too long.
Yeah,
and so sometimes like whether it's like in between turns, I'm like, just get it over. I just want to see the damage. And then, like, so it's like I don't know what it is. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're just all monkey brain, or maybe it's just us. Like we're like, oh
I don't know.
It's taking too long to see the damage number go down or go up, and then the HP go down.
Yeah, but see, that's weird because games back then did take a while to beat, but now we want to finish the games like an hour. So like, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, because I played. Okay, because like I don't remember. I think it's Wargroove, something like that, and then it was kind of like I'm blanking out on it. You know how you would it's like a not XCOM like, but I can't remember what it's called. But you know how you'd have like the little army people and then they'd fight each other and that screen would show up and then they would fire and then like it would show like I can't remember the name of it.
Was it on a computer?
It's not Command and Conquer. I don't know.
It's not Command and Conquer. Yeah, there's like Total War.
No, but it was like a Nintendo game or something like that. But it's like Wargroove. If you've seen the game, you know what I'm talking about. But there's like that old version of the game, or I'm sorry, it takes inspiration from. I can't remember the name of the old game, but because they have this thing where it's like I was playing it and the Wargroove, not the old game that I'm referring to. But so when I was playing it, I was like waiting for like the turn, and like so I was like, oh no, like I was like, oh, am I that impatient? Like I can't wait for like a 10-second, like, or not even 10 seconds, like a 3 to 5 second animation to play where it's like yeah and boom, and then like it's like, and then so I was sitting there, I'm like, yep, I don't have the patience, and I kept skipping it, but then I also felt like I was losing out on the experience of it.
Yeah, because you're trying to get through it.
And then so it's like I don't know if it's just like an impatience thing now.
But like what it is. You weren't always like that. I wasn't always like that. Yeah. Most people who play games now aren't always like that. Mm-hmm. Weren't always like that. So it's like,
because I feel like games back in the day took a low level of patience.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, maybe because we were more patient because it was like, oh, the game's only like 10 hours or something. Versus like, this is a 100-hour RPG. I'm not gonna sit here.
It's probably maybe that's why.
Like I think that's what it is.
Well, plus games are more fast paced now too.
Yeah.
So like I think you can't really go from a fast-paced game like Call of Duty and then go to like a storytelling turn-based card game or something. I don't know. Maybe I don't know it's like it's hard to figure out.
But yeah, I mean we kind of diverged from the original scope of it. I mean we're talking about nostalgia.
Well, yeah, the grand scheme of video games.
Yeah, the grand scheme of video games. But my point of bringing these up, like kind of like these game design elements, I guess you would say, is just it's kind of games have changed a lot. Growing up as a kid, and
it sucks.
And so yeah, I feel like now it's like either most games are just. I feel like even now, like this may be a controversial opinion, games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, they come out every year, and I feel like to a certain degree they do rely on our nostalgia of being in like the old school Modern Warfare 2 lobbies and like trying to recapture that feeling, because like when they remake I guess like reboot Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
Because they did a remaster,
they remastered 2.
They did a remaster for the first one, right? And then they
did
I guess a reboot
of both actually, 1 and 2.
And like I don't know how I feel about that, like because I feel like they cashed in once, then they said let's just reboot the series because everyone likes Price, and like because like growing up like Price, Soap, like a lot of these like Ghosts, like they were cool, like, and then now
that's
I feel like
true.
I feel like now when I'm playing Call of Duty, I still try to like recapture that feeling as a kid playing it. And then but I don't feel like you really get it back. And I'm not sure if it's like.
Maybe it's because we don't hear the same little like 10-year-olds yelling at us, calling us our moms fat.
Shield,
like danger close and like close combat. I don't know. It
Commando
is. Commando Pro,
all the way across the room.
Maybe that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
because people can mute themselves.
I don't know. Maybe just game design philosophy has changed so much where we just maybe it's like changed for the worse. Because I would say like right now, the whole nostalgia thing is in right now. I mean, because like if you go to Target, you have like those little mini arcade systems.
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you about those. Yeah.
And I've been tempted to pick one up, but also too, it's just like I don't know. There's something I don't like about it. Like not that. I just feel like the reason why they're putting these out is because I think originally they're like, oh, it's a cool little collector's piece, blah blah blah. Like, oh, it's a little nostalgia. But then they saw there was a bigger market for it, and then they flooded the Targets with these things, right?
Like here, go get the small one.
I think like Nintendo came out with one.
Yep.
And like
there's like a bunch of random ones too.
Yeah. And then like, cause they had their Game & Watch for like where you had the original Super Mario Bros. And then it had like 3 games, and I'm like, are you serious, dude? Like, but they're just gonna stretch this out, and then they're only gonna put like 1 or 2 games in each one, and then they're gonna just rake in the cash. And I want to get them because I'm like, I like these. These are so cool. Dude. It's like I don't want to be paying like all this money just to get but a commemorative piece that's like I don't know. Like I just feel like not that it's.
They do it on purpose because like
they do it because they know like people works. Like these games and like they're cool classics and like I don't know, it's just not that I can't justify it, but it's like just put out the whole collection. I feel like I think that's just better. Like, but it's just like there's just this weird nostalgia bin, and I think it's just because whatever it is now, whether it's TV shows, movies, video games, I think all of them they're just lacking something now. That people want, but like the movies or whatever had back in the day. There's something that they had back in the day.
But like, what is it?
I don't know what it is. It's like maybe it's just like a comfort level of like, oh, this reminds me of my childhood, and I'm not sure if that's just it. But it's like it's not like these games are genuinely bad because, like I said, I went to this like arcade bar thing like by my house, and they had the old school games, and it's just like these things are classics. Like I was playing the Simpsons beat 'em up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. Like that. Like I was like,
okay.
I still remember it being fun as a kid. I played it. It was enjoyable still. You know, it's like I don't know how to word it. Like, okay, playing Galaga and all those games, still good experience. House of the Dead.
Oh my gosh, that's even older.
Like all these things, I'm like, dude, they're still fun. There's something. I'm not sure if like we've just went like we're evolving just backwards. You know? Like I don't know what it is, but it's like there's something good about these games. It's just maybe it's just built on like it's just a timeless like game with good game design, I guess. But it's like
but like why can't we get those feelings for games now?
Yeah, I mean maybe we just have to wait some time to pass, and then we get those nostalgic feelings, and then we're like, oh, I remember playing this. But like sometimes when I go back to games, like maybe after a year or two, and I'm just like, like
that's what I was gonna say. It's like, have you ever played a game that you used to play but you don't play now? And then
I mean, okay, because like RuneScape, I went and played it again. Like, it was fun. I didn't keep playing it because I was like, oh, this does require a time sink.
Yeah, good luck getting to 99 and everything.
Yeah, and then but it's still fun. I love like even like with RuneScape, how ugly it looked. As a kid though, it looked amazing.
Yeah,
like,
you're like, whoa, wizards.
And I think now it's just like I don't know how to word it. Maybe we're like I always say we're too focused on graphics but not aesthetics. And I think that's way more important because the RuneScape graphics are just objectively not great. Like you look at Final Fantasy VII Remake, you know, you look at the new
and here's RuneScape
Battlefield games, and then you look at RuneScape, you're like, bro, even like WoW, dude, even classic WoW looked better, and like like you know, but it's just the aesthetic of RuneScape, just the music and everything. It's all there, dude. It's just it's all solid gameplay, and I think it's just something that whatever we're doing now,
right?
I think we're just relying on. I think. I don't know how to word it. Like we're just relying on nostalgia to cash grab for like a lot of these companies. Not we are, I should say, but like and then you have these new games that are coming out, and I don't know, maybe we're at like an era where there's like nothing really like new you can do, so and things just get recycled. I don't know.
Do you think it's happening because people our age are now making video games? Do you think they like, man, I felt so good about it back then. Let's make it look a little bit better. And then re-release it because that was my game of the past.
Because like even like with Undertale, right? Like the game doesn't look that great, but it kind of is reminiscent of that 8-bit era or so. And a lot of it was inspired by Earthbound.
Yeah.
He was like, well, I like Earthbound. I'm gonna go on and make my own Earthbound. That's essentially what he did. And that game got super popular. And so and so I think because he focused on story, he focused on the aesthetic, because the aesthetic of the world. I've only played a little bit of Undertale, but the aesthetic of the world is really good compared to like the aesthetic of most modern games.
Yeah.
But there's like for me, I think a classic is going to be like Persona 5. I think that one helped to revitalize my interest in games again, because I was addicted. Another one, Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Another game. I was obsessed with these games, and I think there's just something in there like I know that 5-10 years from now I can go back to these games and be like, wow, these are good games. This is like games that define the era. And I think also too, it's because we're only going to remember the good games. So then I think maybe it's just a whole cycle. It might be a whole cycle. I know I said earlier, maybe like these things are gonna like, I don't know how to word it. Like the classics are going to stay classics, from the 80s.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like maybe it's just because we only remember the Donkey Kongs, the
like
Super Marios,
the Zeldas,
and we don't remember all the trash that was there in between, because like there's a lot of like, oh man, what's his name? Angry Video Game Nerd. He always looks at like these old
weird games, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, no one remembers them because they were bad, but everyone always remembers the good games. So maybe there's gonna be some sort of like, I want to call it like reconciliation with like this. This time that
we
we're
like
in,
to pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, we're just gonna pretend like like Last of Us 2 didn't happen.
Yeah.
We'll go, hey, Last of Us, remember?
Yeah. Oh, that was a great game. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
hopefully they don't do a sequel.
That might just what end up happening. And then of course, I don't know like if it's just like a stagnation within the gaming industry, but no one's really taking risks. Because a lot of these old games, they took risks, but they were pioneers. They were a lot of these games were like the first of its kind, or helped to define and solidify the genre. You got like Metroid.
So do you think that kind of like impacts how we play games now? Because it's like we've already done everything. It's like
I think I mean
it's like why would I play another game?
Yeah, but I mean like you still have like there's still like the Souls like games, right? Where like Dark Souls came out. But, I mean that was still a while ago.
Yeah.
That was like what, PS3 era.
Well, technically, Demon Souls, which was even long. I think it's PS2. I think PS3.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy, but like they said,
yeah.
they remastered Demon Souls, and then because like From Software, I mean, but it was a different company that remastered that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't really put out a new game necessarily. They just.
But I mean, in terms of Demon Souls,
they didn't really build on top of it as much, right? Like it was more of a. I mean, the fancy graphics look nice and everything, but
see, Demon Souls a lot of people liked because it was basically just a game that was released and the select people played and absolutely loved and kind of like started the From Software stuff, and then so all they really did is just added a fresh coat of paint and then made it a little bit less clunky, and it's like, hey, remember this game? I know a lot of you missed it, so here it is again.
Yeah, because I didn't really know about
that. Yeah.
Like, I mean, especially as a kid, I didn't really play those kind of games, but I don't know. I just think there's something there to it that I can't explain. Like, it's just like modern gaming is just kind of lacking. I mean, not even just gaming, just movies in general. I mean, it's just all recycled, and I don't know what it is. I think maybe they're just these companies. They're so big, they're just too afraid to lose money. They have to like their shareholders involved. But like I mean, to go back to Cruella, I don't want to watch it because it's just like why. I watched.
Okay, in terms of Cruella, because it's technically not a remake or a remaster or anything. No, it's in terms of Cruella, it's a movie worth watching because you kind of understand how Cruella became Cruella, and it's like, of course, they did kind of retcon her, dog killing story.
Yeah.
But it's like but just this one standing alone, Disney is like it's 100% worth the watch because it was so well done. Like Emma Stone was perfect. Okay. But when it comes to
you're an Emma Stone
I am, so it is a little biased, but it is a very good movie. But if in terms of nostalgia, like Lion King, Mulan, The Jungle Book, all those movies suck.
Yeah, I just because like I don't know, it's just there's something about seeing like there's something that also too like that I don't agree with is that these are not stylized animated movies, right? They try to make it look like real life. The Lion King had no soul because when you see the stylized cartoon animation style that they went with, that looked cool. It was unique. It was the Disney style and feeling. But this is just like generic looking lion or something, or bear, like, or the Jungle Book
with bad voice acting.
Like, I remember the movie not being that good. But the classic animated one was good. I loved it as a kid. I watched it I don't know how many times, but the movie it didn't, not that I didn't recapture, but it didn't have that Disney magic. It didn't. It did feel weird. A lot of these movies that they're doing of the live action remakes, they don't have that Disney magic to it. Like I don't know what it is. It's just not that feeling like when you just pop in like that old school like VHS.
I still prefer like the old ones over the new ones. Like I still watch the old school Lion King, old school like anything.
Yeah, it's better. I don't know what it is. It's just something about it. It's just maybe because we go in knowing it's like the same story or something. But like you see, I don't know, like because even newer stuff like Up, I mean, it's not newer. It's still like
it's still pretty old.
Yeah, it's still pretty old. Like Up. Or even now, oh man, what's that one? It was the jazz guy.
Soul,
yes, that was a good one. I liked it, but because it had a stylized animated style and it looked nice, but that was more Pixar, right?
Yeah.
But basically it doesn't.
Whoa! No, just kidding. Go ahead.
It's like, whoa! You're saying Disney and Pixar is that intertwined?
There goes that Disney sponsor again.
Yeah. Oh darn. But no, it's just I don't know. It's like there's something there, and I think it's just. No one's willing to make risk, and that's why I think I like anime though. It's because a lot. I think here's the thing that I think with anime
is it taking risks though?
It's not taking the risk like they did in the early 2000s. Yeah. Like early 2000 stuff took risk, and then up until like I think honestly like recently, fairly recently. Now it's just isekai. Yeah. And it's just like one genre that's like super popular.
Isekai, ecchi, simps.
But yeah, it's like, but you see, like, it's just kind of falling to that same thing that it's like the West. It's like, okay, this is safe. This is what everyone wants to watch. But it was just like, I mean, shows like Evangelion and like, what's that show?
Old school Naruto
and all that. Like, these are fairly unique shows.
I can't believe I had to say old school Naruto.
Original Naruto. But yeah.
Well, because if I say Naruto, they'd be like, Shippuden? No. Boruto? Definitely no.
But it's like I don't know. I feel like anime in the recent years I've been enjoying it less because I feel like not. I mean, I don't feel like it's trying to go for like nostalgia necessarily, but I think, but certain shows I think do kind of like Boruto. I think it just relies on the good faith. I think that's what it is. They make these shows that rely on the good faith of what happened before,
expecting us to like it just because.
And then many people force themselves to like it or consume it because it's canon and people want to know and people care about Naruto characters and stuff like that. And so, or like you care about what happened in The Lion King and you just want to watch it. And some people enjoy it. I just don't. Not that I see it like, oh, it's morally wrong to go watch it. Like, but I just feel like I'm not going to give them my money because that's my vote of confidence against them to be like, no, I don't agree with this. I think that's what it boils down to.
I mean, I do agree with you, in the most part for at least Disney and all that. But
I just like, and then it just I don't know. Like I think maybe.
So like just for example, if they remade the Marvel universe, they remade. I'm saying this very loosely, like Captain America and all that. Would you want to watch it, or would you?
Remade, as in, are we talking about like comic books, or are they gonna do
like
TV
let's
show,
like okay,
or movies?
A better example, they want to do Superman. They're gonna reboot it or remake it, but they're gonna kind of change. Yeah. Would you want to watch that?
You see, to me, I would probably watch it just for the review.
Mm-hmm.
But like to personally enjoy it,
you just be like meh.
I'd probably be like meh.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if I'd personally enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But, who knows? I mean, if they do a good job at it, that's the hard thing. That's the hard part. Like, Mulan flopped.
It was bad.
Like, yeah, it's like these things are just not, they're just made for the money. And so it's like all these things.
I don't know. In terms of, I'm going to say it, in terms of like the Disney movies, I don't like how they are remastering everything, but they're putting like the big names. Like The Lion King is like I can close my eyes and I can already see who like everybody is, and it's like maybe that's probably because I was a kid, but like when you see Lion King, Aladdin, you're like I don't know who the heck these people are, but it's like they have more soul, more passion, like they actually care about being in the movie. And then when I watch the Lion King real life movie, it's just like, oh, they're just people who know how to sing.
Well, like in terms of like some of these, like you had Robin Williams in Aladdin,
yeah.
Right? Like you can't beat Robin Williams. I love Will Smith, but it's Robin Williams, dude. Like
that's what I'm saying. It feels I
don't know. It's like
I feel like it's dirty remaking somebody a masterpiece.
I mean, also too, like does that? I mean, on a larger picture, like I don't think it stamples on his legacy or anything, but I just feel like no, it's impolite. I don't know how to word it, but it's just like sometimes it's like. I mean, it's a little disrespectful, I think,
it feels weird.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like, because, like, I rather, like when you're saying Superman, I rather have them just make a new character, brand spanking new. And I think that's why we're stagnating. We're stagnating so bad.
Yeah, because, like, you like Superman? Here's another Superman.
Yeah. It's like, it's fine if they want to continue a story, but there's only so many times where people want to hear Superman before it gets a little boring. And then, of course, it's like, it seems like, okay, they reboot.
Yeah.
Start over. New cast someone else. I mean, I like Henry Cavill. I don't want him to leave, but it's like they're probably they're gonna kick him out, put a new guy in. Oh, fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
And then I think it's just like sometimes it's like I think we just have to stop and just do something new. But why take a risk with a new character when you have Superman?
Yeah.
Right. They paid for these assets a lot of the time to acquire them. Like Disney paid a lot of money to acquire Marvel.
Yep.
Like, you think they're going to just, like, not use them because they feel like a few of the fans are getting a bit fatigued and then, like, oh, no, we're rebooting this thing. And
but is it a minority or, like, of people feel how, like, you feel and all that?
I don't know. I mean, I know because I've been noticing more and more as I surf the internet. People are like, games aren't fun anymore.
Right.
Movies aren't good anymore. Like, it's just boring. And, like, I don't know, because on a wider, like, scale, like, because as a kid, when I would play video games like these Flash games or whatever, or, PlayStation 2 or my DS or whatever, I was playing these games. I'm like, wow, this is fun. This is amazing. It was a lot of fun. And then even as a young kid, I was like, you know what? Like, it's important. These games are important to a certain degree. Like media is important. Like the movies that you watch and the comic books that you read as a kid, like they kind of, I wouldn't say they develop your personality, but they do kind of mold you in a certain way. You especially artistically, right? Like like depending on the kind of stories that impact you, you kind of channel that into your writing or your storytelling.
Yeah,
whatever it is, or how you draw your art style. Like, like I have a friend where or just even friends that like I have that really like Disney and they love that Disney art style, and then they'll draw
and
they draw in
yeah.
a similar fashion, right? Or like for me, because I grew up playing certain games, I want to make certain kind of games, and then so like I like strategy games. I want to make strategy games in the future,
right?
If I never played strategy games and I played, let's say, mainly fighters, like Street Fighter, Tekken, whatever,
whatever,
yada yada,
yeah.
and I just did that, and that was my main genre. Then I probably would have grown up and been like, I want to make fighting games.
That's true.
And I think so. I think these things do have influence on us when it comes to like our artistic endeavors to sound smart.
Sounds like we should have brought a psychologist on this.
Yeah, I know. We need
There's probably like literally a word or like something that's actual study on all this.
and so I think it's just I think it's very important. Like, I don't know, like I want to call like nostalgia sacred or something, and we have to keep it like no. Like the game has to be remembered like this, and like so we can never play it or touch it again or remaster or go back to it. Because I it's not that I inherently think remasters or remakes are bad. I just think too many times they come in for the easy money.
Yeah.
And then they put no love into it, and then it becomes a shell of its former self.
Yeah.
And I think that's a crime. And at that point, because like as a kid, like I was saying, to go back to my story, I even then as a kid recognized like, oh, when I grew up, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Because I'm essentially handing out kids' childhoods. Like I'm going and influencing, kind of like, just the media that they consume. Like, because I watched a lot of Spider-Man, as a kid, and that influence, and you did too, and that influence is kind of like our like, sometimes our views and like, and what we like to enjoy and consume, because it's like, whenever we see Spider-Man, it's like, oh, we love Spider-Man in the Marvel universe and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then like, as much as we take a dump on Marvel, we still like it, Yeah, sure.
I love Marvel.
Take this away. Yeah. I mean, if you're just listening, we have the gauntlet.
Yeah, and I'm wearing a Marvel shirt.
Yeah. So yeah, Ben's wearing a Marvel shirt. We have this gauntlet here that's like for drinks and stuff like that. But I guess we'll talk about this next after. But the whole point being is like, it's just like I recognize there's a certain level of importance right here, because it's like I grew up playing Pokemon and all these things, and then now I feel like Pokemon just relies on the old games to keep carrying them, and people keep playing them every year just because it's Pokemon.
Yeah.
But like when I make my games, I mean my first handful of games are probably gonna be super super bad,
To be expected, at least.
Yeah. But like even in the game that I'm making now, I like the old school like Game Boy Legend of Zelda games, and my game is very reminiscent of the art style and everything and the feel of it. And so I think that's very like that it's very influential. And I don't know, I just feel like there's a certain responsibility for some people to make art for the next generation to enjoy and to remember that fondly. And it's like I want to call it like, it's like a comfort. Nostalgia is comfort. It's comforting in a way to go back and to watch something that that
makes you feel nice.
Yeah, it makes you feel nice and warm inside, and you know it, and so I think there's a certain like, I don't know how to word it, like certain legacy that's being left behind by a lot of the great game developers now, like especially from that era. And then I'm like, well, there needs to be a next generation, and it's like I think it's important that these kids now grow up playing good games,
so not Fortnite.
I mean, like Fortnite was an okay game at first. I think it was kind of fun.
Ambition from Fortnite is what they should take.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. I want these kids to grow up like, kind of like how we did, like with Pokemon, Mystery Dungeon, dude, like crying at the end because you had to leave them, and like like Mega Man, and like I don't know, like I just feel like it's important that like the next generation of kids do that, and that they grow up, and that the next generation. I think because like art in general is important.
Yeah, it should.
And I'm saying video games because that's what I want to get into. But if it's like comic books or movies or TV shows, anime, or just animation,
anything in general,
any artistic endeavor, music, I think it's all important because we leave that for the next generation. And there's generations to come that will listen, and like people still like listening to 50s music and stuff like that. Like it's important.
It influences them.
Yeah, and so I think it's just all around important. So like, to me, I get passionate, like, I mean, if you could tell, like, about this topic, because, like, I think it's important, like, that we, like, especially, like, hopefully me as a future game developer, to really like hone down on like what, like not just like, oh, we're making games for fun, because games are fun, but there's a broader implication here. Like,
yeah,
it's
like the why, maybe.
Yeah, like in a certain way, like, you know, games raised us in many ways.
Oh yeah, big time.
You know, and so it's like, I think it's important that we have good games.
I agree.
That we raise this next generation with.
I agree.
Because I think it's very important, like, whether it be like, you know, like Full House. I loved that as a kid. It was a comfort show. I just sat there and watched it, and like I have very fond memories of just sitting there and watching it. And then they did that Fuller House,
yeah.
And it just didn't. It was okay.
Well, that's basically a remake.
and yeah, it's a reboot.
And
like it was okay, but it just, and like, yeah, to a certain degree, it kind of hit the nostalgia for me. But at the same time, it was like I'd rather go back and just watch the classic.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's not. I don't know if it's like they just can't make these shows better, or if it's just they don't care, or what it is. Because I feel like you could make Fuller House better. I mean, there's. You know, we have more, I guess, resources available now.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a money-wise, you know, it's like there's so much money you can throw at these things now. And then so I don't know, but yeah, I feel pretty like passionate about the topic. And
it's very interesting because from when we grew up, we have a different attachment to everything compared to like, I guess, kids now. And like I do kind of want to touch a little bit on like Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge and Marvel. It's like people like around my age and then kids like whatever generation they are now, like 16, 12-year-old, like I went to Galaxy's Edge. I was like basically crying because it's like I literally was crying because it's like the nostalgia was kicking in. It's like, man, when I was a kid, I was like, I've always wanted to be in Star Wars. You know, and it's like when I would see like an AT and all that.
Yeah, like
but
it raised you. Like,
yeah,
it gave you courage to do things and stuff like that sometimes, like as a kid.
Yeah, because I normally wouldn't talk, and then like literally watching this junk, and like it changed me completely. Yeah. But it's like when I went to Galaxy's Edge, like even though I knew it wasn't like real, I was just like so happy, so excited. Like I was like literally crying. Yeah. But then like kids these days, instead of crying about like being in Star Wars, they're crying because it's like, oh look, Han Solo, like the actual actors there. It was like whatever actual actors there. It's like, you know, you should be kind of more focused on the whole world and like how it shapes you, not, I don't know, not like a teenager should be like. It's weird.
I don't kind of understand what you're saying here.
I don't know. It's hard to explain.
The focus is different. I think the way that they interact with media is different. I think that's what you're just saying. It's like because like.
Like why am I so connected to the world, but this kid over here is crying because they see an actor?
Let's take the Fortnite. Let's take the Fortnite thing again, right? Because what do they take away from Fortnite, right? They take away the stupid emotes, right? Yeah. Like no, like you didn't have us really doing like the emotes as a kid, but it was more like I'm Bulbasaur, I'm gonna pretend to be a Bulbasaur. Yeah. They're more like, oh, I'm just doing the funny dance, not like, oh, I'm Jones or whatever the name of the whatever character is. But because like. Most video games now, they don't really make iconic characters.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like
it's like it's usually like, oh, generic goblin.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course, there's only so many like unique game design characters and stuff like that you can do and implement.
Yeah, but still, if you keep making new worlds, you should. Yeah. Well, not should,
I'm not saying
but
it's unlimited. Like there's probably like a certain like, oh, okay, before everything's been done. But I don't know. Maybe we just got. I don't know. Hopefully, like when I have my own thing, I can really like. Because that's what I'm really hoping to do. Like. Because I do want to have like comic books and light novels. Because
I'm pretty sure like you want people to fall in love with your aesthetic, your world, like the feelings in your game. You don't want people to fall in love with
like,
the voice actor.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, like it's just something like about like having people enjoy your stuff and like having people potentially like take comfort in that. Like it's a cool idea. It's like and like you're like, I don't know, I guess, like, essentially, you're just, like, handing out happiness in the buckets.
Yeah.
You know, like with these things. Like, I like, that's what I'm hoping to do. And I don't know if it's, like, when you're creating some of the stuff, it's, like, oh, like, if that's maybe, like, the writers just don't care or something like that. And sometimes maybe the writers care and it's just some executive or producer that's just being a jerk.
Just saying, nope.
And I don't really know. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. But I'm going to try to do my own thing and hopefully, you know, maybe not my first few games will come across this way, but like I'm hoping that as I get better and better and I can do more ambitious games, because there's nothing wrong with making casual whatever games, and same thing, there's nothing wrong with making like TikTok style music and all that, but as long as there's a group of people, and what I mean by TikTok style, it's like, you know, like the songs that are just like a minute, 2 minutes
and
long,
then it's over,
and it's just like, it's just the same annoying like catchy beat.
Yeah.
And then so it's like, but you know, like everyone appreciates, you know, real music to a certain degree, and there's nothing wrong with like nodding your head to some like, you know, trashy music. I mean, I love trashy music. It's so.
It has its purpose.
It's just like, you know, like there's nothing wrong like with enjoying that stuff, but I feel like there still needs to be people, and that's why I really appreciate like the indie game developers and stuff like that, and that you know, I want to see like it like prosper and grow, and you know, like I just really think it's important.
Do you think, because I know you said that most people like they could have passion, but they're executives or whatever, the higher ups, because I know a lot of people are starting to leave like the main.
Oh yeah, like a lot of people have like Activision.
Well, okay, and for that example, like the original people who made World of Warcraft, they made their own MMO alongside the old school like League of Legends people.
Yeah.
And so now they're making their own MMO, and people are freaking out because it's like it already looks cool. It's a new idea.
What's it called? It
starts with a P. It's a really weird name. I have no idea what it's called, but I saw the trailer, and it's like they literally said, think Stardew Valley and World of Warcraft. Stardew Valley is like a farming sim.
Like Harvest Moon?
Yeah, Animal Crossing, but it's an MMO. And then like they already said, it's like it's not gonna be mostly about fighting. It's gonna be mostly about, you know, harvesting like with your friends. Gathering. Yeah, you can literally make a house with your friend and blah 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 blah. And it's like this is a brand new idea, and people are flipping out because it has old school creators that everybody was in love with, like World of Warcraft and all that, and now they're making their own game where they're not being controlled by like the higher up.
Yeah.
And like this like literally one trailer, and everyone's like, okay. Now we gotta see this.
To show me that after.
I will.
I'll
show
you a reaction. Maybe we'll do. I'll do a little reaction to that and give our thoughts and ideas. Like,
well, I mean, because I know E3's next week, so they might be.
Oh, they might show.
They might, maybe, yeah.
Maybe we'll do like a double back to back.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Trailers, because I think that's something like we should do. But that's besides the point. But yeah, no, I mean, because you. So when you went to California Adventure?
Yeah, Disney California.
So you went to California Adventure, and then, you know, we picked this up. Well, he picked this up. I think this is freaking
It's the Infinity Gauntlet, Iron Man.
Infinity Gauntlet.
With the cup holder.
Yeah, if you want to see it and you're just listening, go check out our YouTube channel.
Yeah, Past the Pop Culture. Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to see like the gauntlet, we're just gonna be leaving this here now. I love it. It's like you can actually use it. Like oh my gosh, dude! Like I love.
And the lights turn on too.
Oh what?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like that button.
That's amazing, dude. Look! Oh my gosh! I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I don't want to leave the lights on. Well, how do I?
Oh,
there we go. Oh, they dim out. Okay. So
see, technology.
So yes.
Ooh.
So yes, as much as we take a dump on Marvel, we do like them. It's just
I like the merchandise, not the company.
Okay. All right.
No, that's kind of a joke, but not really.
But yeah, no. I guess to kind of start wrapping up here a little bit, because I feel like we a little bit off track. But kind of.
Well,
like
I mean, it's kind of.
Talking about
it's a hard thing to talk about because we do want that same feeling we had back then. Because video games now, they are fun. We're not trying to say that they suck, all of them.
Yeah, but I guess I don't want to say like, oh, I'm some boomer that only likes.
Yeah, because we're sounding very negative, but it's like it's
because we really care about games.
Yeah,
like we grew up playing games, like just like pretty much everyone who's listening to this.
Yeah.
But it's just like I don't know, like I guess because maybe I just don't like there's like all this creative stifling. I feel like I see it. I feel like. Especially like you just see it's like soul crushing for some of these developers when you hear their stories.
Sucks, yeah.
When it's just like, oh, the crunch and the stress and the anxiety and that you're getting yelled at, and it's sad because it's like these are really talented artists. They really are. And then it's like if you give them the time, and I think that's what it is. It's just like sometimes maybe the games may be a little too ambitious.
Yeah.
Maybe focus too much on graphics.
Not enough time.
I want to narrow it down, and I'd like to hear people's thoughts on this. And like, if you feel the same way, like I want to know, because it's just like I don't know. I just find this all like fascinating. That it's like you can see like kind of like this. Where I would say like again earlier, it's like a dark age. We're in this dark age. We need a renaissance.
Yeah, so
man.
it's interesting because most people probably won't realize that they don't like video games or whatever until you told me. It's like, hey, haven't you felt something's missing from the games? And like ever since then, it's like, wait, yeah, you're right. It's like, and like that kind of you ruined my game. No, like not really, but it just made me. No, it's just most people just play a bunch of games because they just want to play a bunch of games. It's like they don't really have any meaningful reason to play it. And it's like people are probably, I mean, we probably are ruining everyone's video game life, but
everyone's like gonna like downvote.
It's like, wait, I haven't played any, or I haven't beat any games in like 50 years or something.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, honestly, like, yeah, if you feel that way too, like, I mean, just send a message or something.
Yeah, or if you're a psychologist, let us know.
If you're a psychologist that deals with all this. There's
Like,
game psychologists. Like, there are. Like, people who work in, like, video games, and they're, like, they try to make, like, the games as, like, addicting as possible. Whether if you find that morally okay or not.
I didn't know about that, but
that's the whole thing.
Well,
Yeah,
I know video game addiction is actually a whatever they're called now. So.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just I don't know, a little food for thought, I feel like, for this podcast. I don't know. I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest a little.
Feel better? Feel lighter?
I feel better. I'm still angry. Like that they're doing this stuff, but I don't know. I guess I just have to do my part, put out my games quicker, work on them, and because I don't know, just because as I've been working on my game and finding inspiration and just like, just looking back at like, because I like seeing how like certain games did certain things, and then I'm like, when I look back at how the older games did it, I was like, they kind of did it better. They kind of knew what they were doing. That's what I'm saying. And some of these newer games, I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes maybe simpler is better when it comes to games, and then like because like
not always in depth stuff is like not really.
Sometimes I think you just gotta run with one angle or a certain part. I don't know. Maybe
just press one button.
I mean, we're just some people on the internet, man. Yeah. So it's like, what do we know? We're not gonna.
I mean, maybe we're 100% right.
Change the whole industry. Yeah, revolutionary.
Hey, mark today, whatever we did,
Tuesday.
Yeah. Episode 12 was the beginning.
Not 13.
Yeah, not 13.
Episode 12.
I mean, we do every time we say something, it either makes it happen or something else happens.
That's completely the opposite. So
like for example, E3, I want a God of War. Few days later, this says, "No, we're not going to show that."
And then the PSP, apparently,
allegedly,
about a potential PSP, which I'd be interested in.
Why?
But yeah, I mean, honestly, to kind of just like wrap up here, because I don't know, like we kind of
went over a lot.
Like just remasters and remakes. I think they're very situational. When to get them, when to do them. I think
not always
there's
needed.
Nothing wrong with bringing the game into like the next generation and fix things up. I'm a fan of if like you can play both, so you can play the original how it was made, and then you can play with like the new version, or even like when they do things like, hey, they add in extra features, so it's like, okay, the turns are now quicker now, like, okay, you can skip certain cutscenes or something, but like, you can do no changes, like quality of life. There you go.
I don't know. I'm on team no changes.
Sometimes like they do like quality of life changes and stuff like that. I'm fine with that. I have no problem. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up here.
It's a very interesting episode.
Right, you want to do the outro?
All right. Thanks for listening. We are Past the Pop Culture. Don't forget to follow, like, download, everything else, share on Twitter.
Yeah, hit us up on Instagram or something for like the I don't know, just like
psychologists help us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are Past the Pop Culture, signing out. See you later.
See you guys. Thanks for listening.